for giving up your valuable time to attend our webinar this afternoon, kindly brought to us by Derventio Education, the home of school IP. Just as a brief introduction before Jennifer starts, I've known Jennifer for a number of years, as probably some of you attending today's session have as well. Over her journey with digital transformation in organisations worldwide, transforming schools, and recently being heavily involved with presenting training to different organisations, as well as AI. She recently did a session in June about using AI as a tool to more or less explain data easily. I know recently she's been at BET, where she's held a session, a question and answer session there. So we're very fortunate to have Jennifer in a busy schedule to help present today's session on AI, not just as introduction, because as many of you are aware, as you seem to put into your search bar now, a certain question, automatically AI just pops up, but now taking it to that next level. So with further ado, over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here. I'm just going to say it now. This is going to be the first out of a number of sessions, because this is really the introduction to thinking about AI for executives, using AI in a different format as well, not actually using it just as operational. Can you write an email? Thinking about how you can use this as your human companion. So I'm going to start. Let's hope this all works well. Andy, you can see my screen okay? Can't hear you. That's okay. All right. Okay, so we're looking at AI for executives, from tool to human first companion. So what we're talking about is actually shifting from boosting efficiency to gaining cognitive and strategic advantages using it as an executive. Bit about me. My name is Jennifer Surujpaul, as Andy's introduced me beforehand, founder of IT Solutionist. I come from a vast range of different, I would say, different experience. I've been national, I've also been international, come from an IT background previous to working in education. I've now founded IT Solutionist. This was founded in September 2024 as well. I work with trusts, executives, small businesses and local authorities. I actually work as a digital transformation consultant, AI and governance lead, where I'm actual governor for my son's school as well, and I advise board on level technology strategy and former senior leadership as well in a large international school, and more recently at the Brit School as well. So the myth, let's talk about the myth for AI. AI is primarily an efficiency tool designed to speed up tasks. Is that a myth, or is the reality? While AI can draft email, viewing it solely as an accelerator of administrative tasks leaves it immense strategic value on the table. Can I just ask you, because I like interactive sessions, can you let me know, how are you using AI? Do you think that you're using it at a low level prompting, or do you think you're using it as a high level prompting? Let me know what you think at the moment. How do you feel that you're using it? So we can just go to the chat now, Andy. Summarize document. Thank you. Okay. Low level. Okay. Okay. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so this is going to be the first. I'm going to get started. This is our warming up session at this point. So what you need to do, though, before we actually get into what AI is, we need to be able to define generative AI. So if you think of this as a Russian doll, okay, the Russian doll, the actual overarching one is artificial intelligence, and within that you've got machine learning. Machine learning could have been when you're using Google Maps. When that first came out, it was just very basic, but over the number of years it's actually changed. It can predict your journey, it can predict different routes. Okay, so what it's actually done is use that data to make those predictions. Then you've got the deep learning as well. You can see that that mimics the human brain as well. And then you've got generative AI. That's what you're used to. So you can see on here we've got ChatGPT, Midjourney and Gemini, but no, you're not actually going to be focused on that. We're going to look at ChatGPT, and we're also looking at NotebookLM, and we're looking at Claude. Now this is AI for Education. AI for Education is an American company, and I've recently completed my Train the Trainer course. So I'm really looking for some feedback here as well in terms of what your needs are more than anything else. And I will share their resources that they've got. They've got some brilliant prompting resources that you can actually go ahead and use, starting from the beginning all the way up to actual high value prompting as well. So, done. This is the new executive suite. So we're going to be looking at ChatGPT, as I said before. We've got Claude and NotebookLM. They are the LLM, the large language model. Okay, this is not a guide on how to use software. It's a guide to use this as a new mode of leadership more than anything else. Oh, I don't know why my screen is going this way. Sorry. So I just want to talk to you about a case study. I've got a friend, very good friend, and she's an acupuncturist. She came during the new year, she came to me and she said to me, Jennifer, I've got some really good news. And she knows that I'm very much into IT, and I'm always trying to get her to use IT as well. And I said to her, what is the good news? She said to me, I started using AI. I said, what do you mean? And she said, I've actually started using it. It's helped me so much. It's made me actually have time. She's able to create a workshop from this. Number one, she didn't use AI to automate tasks at all. She used it as a thinking partner. She would get up in the morning. Now, she wouldn't be looking at her phone straight away in the morning like most of us actually do. What she would do, she'll hold her ideas. She'll go onto the laptop after she's had her breakfast. As well. Yes, you will get the presentation at the end, okay? And what she's done with this, she's told AI exactly, ChatGPT, what her boundaries are, who she is, how she feels about AI as well. And she told AI about her problems regarding decisions and business planning as well, because it felt quite overwhelming. What she ended up doing after speaking to AI, she said she wanted to have that check-in every morning with AI, and she would then go through her list of tasks. AI then actually gave her a schedule. She even told AI about her cleaning that she needed to do and the food that she needed to eat and her task for a workshop. And AI helped her to actually work out her time. So it became that human companion. It didn't give her intelligence. It actually created a thinking space as well. She was able to gain clarity from this. And she said to me, I no longer think alone. And that for me, for executive, it's really powerful. Having that strategic companion is key in this situation. So we know that executives do not need faster email. They actually need sharper thinking more than anything else. And this is why does this matter at this point? And for examples, let's think about this, okay? We know that most of you have said that you're using AI as a low level, and we'll come to that afterwards. And I'm going to give you some tools that I'll follow up with that you can use, and you can have a go at this as well. Okay, executives do not have a speed problem. What it is a complexity problem they've got. Decisions are harder, and the information can be quite noisy. You can end up with that cognitive overload. Okay, so when you're using AI, thinking about that cognitive leverage that you've got, it can act as an advisor, a decision maker, that actual pre-briefing assistant, that trusted advisor as well. So when you're using it at that, and I will show you how to do that as well, you will see that will make a big difference. If we're thinking about strategic acceleration as well, if you've got an idea and you did not know how to execute this, AI can actually help you with this, okay? So for example, if you're in a multi-academy trust or group of schools, you wanted to extend the offer that you've got, okay? You have a leadership meeting on a Monday morning, and then with that AI, you're going to have to actually undertake that planning. It can take quite a long time to pull the reports, read through the documents as well. But you can use Claude and NotebookLM in order to do this. If you didn't want to use Claude, you can also use ChatGPT as well. So let me show you an example there. So without AI, the ideas will actually surface. You're gathering context, scheduling meetings, which we know can take a long time. You're analysing this, structuring this, it's hours of reading, note taking, and then you're going to draft that executive plan. You're going to have to go out to the board or your team to go through it. But with Claude, you can have, it might be, can we extend our MAT offering? It might be implementing AI across your trust or your business itself. You might want to upload those strategy documents, the reports, meeting notes. It might be a survey that you've undertaken, all of the data that you've got there as well. You can do that in NotebookLM. You can then go on to Claude and prompt it as well. You can say, analyze the risks, opportunities and gaps. And then again, prompting Claude, drafting a phase 18-month plan with milestone. And then you would have that working draft ready that you can share, or you can have that as a shared document you can share with your team as well. That will save you hours in order to do that as well. Just going to go back to this now. So if we're thinking then, you can see how you can actually use AI in order to do that. And if we think about that, we know that there's so much as an executive that you need to actually manage, and it can be difficult with actually worrying about different schools, reviewing guidance, how you're able to do that can be time consuming as well. So when we're moving over as well, thinking about decision, and you're thinking about how you're going to use this. You can use this as that decision maker where you're asking your actual tool that you've decided to use, how can it help me to make that strategic decision? You're prompting it as well, but you're not doing low level prompts. You're actually saying, okay, act as an advisor for me. This is my position. This is what I need to do as well. You're giving that context around the prompt and what your goals are going to be as well. And then you're thinking about, you don't actually have that, you have that bias-free critique that you don't need to worry about when you've got that group of people in the room. You can actually think about, okay, these are the different questions that are going to come up within this. So if we look at this diagram here, most of the organisation actually float on the surface. And if you think about where you are, the leaders dive deep, okay? You've got the tool mindset and you've got the companions mindset as well. Can you just let me know from here, does anyone, I know that most of you have said that you use it as a low level at this point, does anyone use this for the companion mindset at this point? So if you could just let me know in the chat, that'd be wonderful. Andy, how are you using this? I know we spoke about this as well.
I'm using it more for strategic modelling now, because obviously in my role, I work with schools to develop certain strategies. And I was just thinking, as people are adding some things into there, that strategic modelling, and it says you put in there about creating that, like, for example, 18-month plan with milestones. That means you could, in fact, use that with the right documentation to create your school improvement plan, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could do, and you can also outline the different milestones that you need, and you could. It's about context and making sure that you've got that context when you're prompting this into AI. So you can see on here, I can see companion mindset. So Sabina, can you just tell me a bit more about that? Because that's interesting. It's good to hear how other people are using this as well. Extensive review of existing policies. Okay, unintended consequence for projects and action. That's really good. Okay, when creating action plans for the organisation, do you actually give it prompts in terms of who you are and what your goals are as well for this? legal contracts and agreement. Okay, so Maria, when you're using this as well, are you making sure that you're not training the data, because there could be actual data implications as well, which people need to be aware of. So I'm going to show you who I am, how long I've been teaching, what years I have teaching, no names. Yep, really important. No names is the key as well. Yep. So I'm going to just show you very quickly, and I will give this to you. Let me just share this tab. So I've created this, and I've created this through Claude, and I can show you how to do this in our other session as well, because I know we're not going to have time at this point. But this is using the iceberg that you've seen, and you can see above the surface, and it shows you can actually use this and prompt, okay, how do you actually use it? You would type it in. So if we put in drafting emails, decision support, options, strategic thinking. Andy, do you want to help me with this one?
But I was just answering what Richard had just put in the chat there. That was all. I'm going to need to enlarge my screen to see this. My eyesight's not as good as it could be. Bear with me a minute.
Hold on, I will do that as well, because there might be other people.
I'll just put it back on the screen again.
I'll put blind spots.
So the strategic thinking was about that planning, wasn't it, that we just talked about, really?
Yeah.
But what I have noticed is, as you've been doing this, things that have been coming into my mind are things like the actual wording of that prompt is so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't give you, it doesn't give you the right answer, that you just have to rethink about the prompt.
Okay, and then you can see on here, you can use this, you can type this in. That's absolutely fine in terms of how you use this. And then what it will do, you could click view my summary. And this is your summary that you've got. And then you can also click generate my next step prompt. And you can copy this straight into Claude or ChatGPT.
So I don't know if you just covered this. This is going to be available for people to access.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if
great.
What we can do, I've actually added a questionnaire.
Yeah.
A form that they can fill out, and then I will send it to them as well. So you can see, please tell me honestly which level I'm primarily operating at, the gap, my next prompt, and this can help you. And we're going to have a 30-day challenge. So what I'd like to do then is come back in 30 days time and go through this in more detail, because we need time to do this. And I want this to be much more hands-on when I do come back. Okay, so that is what I've got there. Yeah, this will be available. I think this is really powerful as well, because you can actually use this. You can copy it, you can paste it as well into ChatGPT, Gemini if you're using Gemini, and also if you're using Claude as well. So going back to this. So at the moment, we know it's low level, but you can use this as your thinking companion as well. And you can challenge different documents that you've got. It can act as your strategic advisor, as I said beforehand. And I think it's really important we're not using AI to its full capacity as well. And that's what we need to think about doing more than anything else. So AI will only reflect, remember, it's an AI tool. It's only going to reflect the quality of your thinking and your prompting. As you said before, Andy, that is key as well. So summarize this report, low value. Recreate this email, low value. Analyze the strategy paper, identify blind spots, risk exposure, conflicting assumptions, and alternative approach. That's high value. What could make that even more high value? If you could just add in the chat what you think that can make this even more high value. Just to go through this will be really looking at what your role is going to be. So you would have to give more context to identify blind spots. I am maybe an executive, I'm a CEO, I'm going to be working with my board. That's what I'm doing. That's what you'd have to do. So what I'd like you to do now, and we're going to talk about the prompts, we're going to get into more detail about this. Everyone's prompt, whatever they put in, the output, the answer is going to be different. So when we're looking at this, what I'd like you to do is go into ChatGPT. When you go into ChatGPT, and you can see here that I'm into ChatGPT. This is your context window that you've got as well if you haven't used it. What I'd like you to do is type that in. So I want you to go into it and say, what are you, ChatGPT? And I'd like you to paste what your answers are going to be, because everyone's answer is going to be different. So
Sorry to interrupt you there, Jennifer. Some people in the chat say they use Gemini. Could they do this just in Gemini or anything that they feel confident with?
If they could do it in ChatGPT, that would be good.
Yeah.
Because I want you to be able to see the difference in the different AI tool that you're using as well in terms of ChatGPT.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Wise. So can you see on here what Mrs. Wise has put in? I'm ChatGPT, an AI assistant created OpenAI. Think of me as a conversational tool. And can you see what I've got? It's always going to be different. So, okay. So can you see what happens? You're never going to get the right answer. This is trained on the data from the internet. It's actually trained a lot on Reddit as well, as we know when it first came out, and there was lots of issues there. But you can see what we've got here. And what you can do, remember that you've got different modes as well. So if you click onto the plus, if you want to do some thinking as well or deep research, it's really important that you use the right model in order to do this. You've got a sentence. That's very interesting. I like that. Okay. So if you wanted to do it as a thinking, this will actually change. I'm GPT-5 thinking. So you can see the difference there to what I've got. So it's really important that you understand the different models as well that you've got. If you wanted to create an image, you'd be able to use it. If you're doing deep research, which can actually take longer, shopping research if you wanted to. So that's the prompt 1. So that's a low level prompt that you've got. But this is prompt 2. I'd like you to choose one. So you could see on here, novice prompt, generate a list of evidence-based strategies to address the problem. You can describe the problem. That could be anything. It might be you wanted to find out a bit about school priorities, or a trust priority, a business priority. And then you can see the more advanced prompt. Ask me questions one at a time to help me think through the situation, policy, issue in the attached document. There might not be a document. Your task is to help me identify potential impacts on my organisation and implementation strategies. So I'm just going to leave that up here, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to actually prompt. Now you can use Gemini for this, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude. I don't mind what you're using, but what I'd like you to do then is just tell me what your output is as well. If you think about it from a novice prompt and more advanced prompt as well. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that.
As people are doing this, Jennifer, I know what some things that have come up in the chat about people worried about giving these platforms, AI, unlimited access to what you're putting in, such as documents. I know some people in the chat have actually said about they've done an extra subscription to actually ring fence their data. Because I think that's one thing that people become very wary of, is that the more information we're putting in there, the more that can be shared. And if they're using documentation that's confidential, I think then that starts becoming a bit of an issue. So maybe that's something whether we cover in this session or in a future session, because I think that's where people become a bit wary of AI.
Definitely. So you can see on here, let me just share this. You've got data controls, and you can see on the data controls that I've got, you need to make sure that your one is off. So you can see on here, improve the model for everyone. I've made sure that my one is off, so it's not using it to train the data. But yeah, I think that'll be a good one to look at the different models, and we can look at how the data is actually stored and what you need to do as well when you're using that. Because it could be so easy just to open up the application. Someone said, oh, hey, Jen is really good. Let me go to that AI tool. Let me go to Claude as well, and not thinking or not having the know-how to understand how your data is going to be trained. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes more.
So I suppose as well, then that's something that for school leaders attending this, they just have to think maybe they have to do an internal training session to make, because obviously their teachers will be using AI to create lesson plans and things like that, and making sure that they're not sharing confidential data or not doing it to analyze, for example, assessment data. So it is going to be quite important. Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be quite tricky, because you need to know what different AI tools they are using within the group of schools or the business as well. And having a policy, then we move on to policies as well, how the policy is implemented. AI can help you to implement that policy, but how that's done. And I think that's a longer conversation, to be honest, Andy. And that's all about training as well.
Yes, I think that's the big key, is training. You know, obviously people have attended this to develop their knowledge, and this is a training session, and then that's about how that's then more or less shared amongst other colleagues, and so everybody understands.
Yeah. Couple minutes more. Yes. I'm just having a look at what Lindsay has said. Lindsay said, if you're a Microsoft school, yes. Is Copilot as effective as Claude ChatGPT? For me, it's really depending on what you're using Copilot for. I know that the model has actually become much better, and it's being improved as we speak at this moment. My preference, and this is where you kind of like have your preference. My preference at the moment is Claude. I was very much into ChatGPT, but now I've moved away from ChatGPT and I've moved to Claude. I find Claude is brilliant in terms of analysing financial data. If you're trying to look at strategic planning as well, it's really good. And in terms of you're able to, the documents it creates, you're able to output it straight to Google Drive if you're connected. You're able to connect your calendar as well. But yeah, if you're in a school, I think depending on what the ecosystem is, like if you're using Gemini, it's going to be protected within the organizational structure, and Copilot as well. And full, okay. Right, so is anyone want to give some feedback in the chat about what prompting they used and what came out, what they found? If they don't want to add the prompt in terms of the answers, the output, they might want to actually feed back the difference in a novice prompt for a more advanced prompt as well. I think we're getting much here, Andy.
No, yeah, I say it's just interesting. What obviously you'll get some feedback on this because I've started personally using the more advanced prompts, and even down to when I'm writing a document. I've started to put writing a document for a particular age group, because if you're using ChatGPT or something, it comes up with these words that I don't personally use. But if you then simplify it for a certain age group, all of a sudden it simplifies the language to make everyone understand. And when you put down, say, have a document and summarize them, the 5 main points and things like this, and create a set of actions just by more or less exploring the use of the prompts, it's amazing what you also get.
Definitely. Okay, I'm going to move on. Anyone want to add anything into the chat at this point in the prompting? How they found it? Okay, so this is looking at the effective prompt. So you know from using the simplest prompt, it's going to be less effective in terms of your output. If you have the more detailed prompt and using a 5S framework prompt, which I'm about to just show you this now as well, you're going to get, this is going to be more effective. So you can see on here, as I said to you before, I've recently undertaken the Train the Trainer one. Oh, I like that, Mrs. Wise.
Could you do
Really
me a
good.
favour? Could you just make it a bit bigger for me, please? With my eyesight.
Okay, so, and again, I will share all of this and the links, and this is from AI for Education. So this is the 5S model. Again, setting the scene, context, role, expertise, environment. So you are a STEM instructional designer and teacher. It might be that you are an executive, you are a CEO. Specific. Be specific in the instructions, and this is what you need to do. Define the task, provide details on what you would like to include. So it might be, again, going back to what you said here, Andy, you might need an 18-month development plan, a roadmap involving all the different stakeholders, how you're going to implement it strategically. Simplify your language as well. This is what's really important. Use that talk out loud, and this is one of the things that we learned about on the course as well. Having that simplified conversational approach when you're doing it. Speak out loud like you're speaking to someone as well. Structure the output. How do you want it to? Do you want a rubrics? Do you want a PowerPoint? Do you want a Word document? What exactly do you want from this? And then share feedback. Feedback at all points in the conversations. What needs to be revised to meet the needs as well. What I'm finding though, that when you're asking the AI model to actually change it, and it's that iteration side of things, after a while it can say to you, you've reached your limit, especially with Claude as well. Even I've got a paid subscription for Claude and it will still tell me I've reached my limit. With ChatGPT, it seems to be much better in terms of the amount that I can do. So it's just being wary of that. Okay. And then from command to partnership, again, I can't reiterate this enough. The one sentence commands will not give you an effective output. You need to think about the partnership mode, role assignment, clear context, and strategic framework as well. And this is that executive AI shift, knowing that it needs to be that companion. You can use it for stress testing decisions. It can give you that 360. You're going into a board meeting. Can you give me questions? I'm an executive. I'm about to challenge the board on this. What might they say? What are the questions that I need to preempt? Thinking about the scenario comparison, and you've got that accelerated insight. So you are prepared. You're prepared even more so as well. You've got that there for you. Remember, it's a mindset shift that we're looking at. Andy, would you like to say anything about that at this point?
I was just thinking when you said about scenarios, imagine you can preempt what governors might ask you in a governors meeting, or
Yes,
you could guide
definitely.
governors to ask you these questions in a governors
Yeah,
meeting. So it's just a different way of thinking, I suppose, just thinking of the potential, and I suppose just
yeah,
thinking outside the box.
definitely. And with that, I'm going to just show you this as well. So this is a tool, and as I said, I will give you all of this. And you can see on here, establish your executive identity. Just make this bigger because I know Andy will ask me that. Before asking a single question, you need to prime the AI with who it is and who you are. And I can't emphasize that enough. And then again, it will transform it into a thinking companion. I've built this all in Claude. Everything's been built onto Claude as well. So you can see on here, and I will give it to you as well. You be your strategic advisor. What's your industry? So Andy, we're going to put education here. Your strategic priority, transformation, implementing. And then you can see on here, you've got different models here, and these are the ones that we're using. I can also add Copilot onto that. That's absolutely fine as well. And for this, I'm going to do GPT. And what it will do, it will generate my session primer. So you can copy this, and you can see on here, this is the primer. Identify, act as my world-class strategy consultant with deep expertise. You can see the words that are being used as well. What the goal is as well of your daily tasks and what you want out of it. And then this is the context here. And these are the rules. Like I mentioned about Yoda, she set rules. She said she doesn't like AI. She's very wary. She doesn't want to be using it all the time. She only wants to have it once a day as well. And you can see on this, I'll copy this. And if I go over to ChatGPT, I'm going to create a new chat, and I'm going to paste this in here. And look what it says, understood. I'll operate as your strategic advisor, challenging assumptions, identifying leverage points, and pushing every idea towards system level impact rather than surface. You can see on here what it's got. What do you think of that, Andy?
I'm just getting my head around it now, Jennifer, because it's starting to become very powerful, and it's like having someone else going to be sitting in the room helping me. So instead of me having to think of things, because obviously, I don't know how many school leaders we've got here, but instead of spinning so many different plates, you've actually got someone who's able to put the plates in order for you and then do it. And obviously, whatever the outcome is, you're still going to have to proofread, you're still going to have to check, but it saves you starting with a blank piece of paper every time, doesn't it?
And it's that human companion. And I think that's really important what you said as well, because AI can hallucinate. Sometimes it can cite information that isn't true as well. I was undertaking a presentation and it cited information and given me statistics regarding a paper regarding maths, and I said, well, where is it in it? Sorry, I was hallucinating. And that was Claude. So you need to be wary as well. Not everything is going to be factual. It's a great starting point, but just don't rely on it. And you've had, I mean, there's been news articles where you've got consultancies that have used this, high up consultancies, and they've been fined as well.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and Natalie's just put a question in
Oh,
about the prompts and the agent within LM. If you were able to just explain that. And then I found
do you
it quite
need,
amusing because someone ahead said parents asked if the school had an inset day, and the AI said it did. So yeah, they've got to be careful as well, haven't they?
you might have a day off anyway because they won't
Sure.
come. So
Yeah.
do you need to be specific with your prompts if you have created an agent within the LLM? Yes, you do. I've created agents and I still need to be specific. Sometimes it doesn't always recognize that agent. It can be tricky, and I think it's still very much in an infancy stage at this point, Natalie. I don't know what your opinion is about that, but that's how I feel. Because I've created an agent for my company and it still doesn't always recognize me as well. Then I've gone to the memory to look at what it's actually got and it seems to be fine, but it doesn't recognize me. And I need to have to keep reminding AI as well. Okay, so let me just go back to this as well, because I wanted to show you on this. So that's your identification for the setup. And remember, you can do anything. You've got your cultural architect. Devil's advocate is good. Finds flaws in your logic. And I'm thinking about that when you're going into a boardroom, what that can be done. So I can share all of this with you. You can download it, upload it into your browser, and it will work straight away. Then you've got the sharper thinking as well. You can see on here, identify, context, challenge, and interaction as well. So if you wanted to use it on there, identify as a strategic finance director specializing in vendor evaluation and investment analysis. So those people that are working in procurement or in finance, that might be useful to you. I have two options for project, a high cost. So you've got all of these, and you've got board meeting, which I love as well. This can be very interesting where you've got different members of the board and they come, as you know, Andy, as well, you can't preempt some of the questions that's going to be asked as well. So you can see on here, act as a skeptical, non-executive board member with 30 years of governance experience. And you can see the context on here. Here are my three main arguments and challenge. Each argument as a board member, identify weakness I haven't addressed, and interaction. I think that is very powerful.
As a governor myself there, Jennifer, I don't think I'd want to give that prompt to some of my governors before a meeting personally for when I was a head teacher. I wouldn't want that at all. But on the other hand,
No, for
sometimes
you.
yeah.
For you, it'd be great because
Yeah.
you're preempting what the board member would ask as well, what the arguments are, so you're prepared for that. And then try it. You've got my real challenge decision right now. You can add that into it. It can be a CRM system that is given as well. And this is all created through prompting. I prompted this quite a lot to get to this point as well when I was using Claude, and it did time out. It wasn't working. Then I had to go back to it. And then even just building this as my brand colors as well, I was able to do. But it took a number of iterations in order to get to where I wanted it to be. Then you've got the iceberg as well, which was spoken about, but I've also got the separate iceberg. And then you can put the last 3 AI requests made and analyze your usage. And you've also got reflective thinking. It reflects the quality of your thinking. How many people have ever actually uploaded the transcript from a meeting as well? using AI, because that can be really useful to analyse. Okay, no problem at all, thank you. To analyse what your strategic thinking is and what you could have done better, and how you can actually be prepared for another meeting as well. And you can see on here, think aloud, going back to the prompts. Okay, yes. So I will be giving this to you. I don't know, Andy, if you can just add the link to my form as well. And you can have a go at doing this. You've got all of these different activities to try. You've got the partnership mode as well. Act as an expert in organisational behaviour and digital transformation. So you can see on here. And all you need to do is copy it and paste it. That's it. And then your executive reflection on how you've been using AI at this point. So that is the tool that I would want you to be using at this point, and trying this. You've got Claude, that's here. You've also got ChatGPT when we've looked at it and added the prompt into it. And I know that everyone's usage is going to be different depending on your role and what's needed as well. So the reflection that I've got for today is this. Where are we currently using AI, and is it just for efficiency? And a number of you have said it's for low level. Where are we avoiding it? How are we afraid of the strategic layer? And I want you to experiment. It's all about trial at this point and not being afraid to do so. And what leadership behaviour must change to enable this shift? What I'd like you to do is just answer that question. What leadership behaviour must change to enable this shift? Because for me, it's about that mindset shift and being able to use it as a leader. Can you just let me know in the chat what you feel the leadership behaviour must change to enable this shift?
I was just thinking there, Jennifer, that you could actually use this, and I don't know if anyone has just how on mind, but if you had an SLT meeting and you just set up some kind of recording device and you recorded your SLT meeting, you don't really have enough time because it's a whole load of ideas being spread around in those senior leadership team meetings. They could then summarize that meeting. It could then identify the key points discussed and any actions, couldn't it? And it could also assign it to specific members of staff. So
Yes.
everything you would, because sometimes you don't get a chance to remember, and there's so much lost during meetings, especially if they gain momentum.
Yes, and what you can do as well with that, you could go into Claude, you can upload that summary of the meeting itself, and it can create a presentation or a document, and it clearly shows you visually, because we know that it can be difficult to get the team to engage. If it's in a visual document, which it does for you, and it will show you the next steps and who's assigned to what point as well, it could be very powerful in Claude. I think we need to think about how to use it. To us at SLT, give time to explore. Yes, it's really important that staff explore, because this is what it is. There's no set way of doing this at this point. It's about experimenting, finding out what is working for you in terms of your role, how you're using it as that human companion, but most importantly, giving the time and using it safely and securely. So understanding that with the data. I think with our next session, Andy, we need to think about having that data and making sure that leaders are equipped and they're given that actual overview of using it safely and what they need to check for as well. And that's in the policy, because it's fine with it being in the policy, but it's about them knowing how to do this more than anything else. So the next 30 days. So strategic tests, select one strategic decision to stress test using AI, thinking companion prompts, which I will give you, and then you got your governance initiation. Initiate one conversation regarding AI governance and policy clarity. You might want to go back to your policy at this point, because you've got a different perspective on this. Sometimes policies are just downloaded. You don't know what it is that you're looking at exactly, what it does in terms of that safety as well. And I think it's really important that you have a working group for AI. That's number one. And you've actually given it some time on the priority more than anything else. So support required, identify gaps in policy training or board level discussion. Natalie said for us, we need to develop trust within the, we have organised AI workshop being supported by our lead, but limited engagement. Is it part of the organisation's priorities as well to have this? Because sometimes it can work in silo as opposed to being built into the organisation's priorities. So that's really important. Staff being open and sharing what works well. Yeah, time to reflect and share and experiment. I mean, I remember when I was working at the Brit School, I had this as part of an IT day where I had the lead, well, it was all of the staff. They had to come along and just experiment. They went onto Canva, they went onto NotebookLM, they also went onto Gemini and ChatGPT. So they were just experimenting to know, okay, and it was low level prompting at this point, just having that time to talk to each other and knowing that you've got a trusted environment is really important. So key takeaways that we've got here. Strategy, AI is not the strategy, it should be used as that thinking companion. You've also got the mindset, moving it from tool to partner and how you're using that. Using the prompting framework that I will give you is really important. And behaviour change must precede technical transformation. And then you've got culture. Leadership modelling determines the organisational culture. Really important as a leader. How are you modelling this behaviour? And so for me, AI will not replace leaders, but leaders who think with AI will shape the future differently. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing there. So if anyone wants to put their camera on at this point and ask any questions, I'm here for the next few minutes.
Let me turn that on for everyone, if anyone would like to join in.
I think fortunately a lot of people have been engaging and putting questions as they've been going along.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
And just think while people are thinking and reflecting as well, if you don't mind, Jennifer, as people might just ask about more about Derventio Education and what we do as we're hosting this event. And more or less we talk about the home of school IP and college IP, and I work, and Jennifer's been working with this system as well, as about a cloud-based platform that more or less makes the processes in schools and colleges much easier. And even though we're not AI, it's about just forward thinking, reducing workloads and things like that. And obviously we have over 800 organizations worldwide as we move forward. And it allows people to analyze data and bring things forward. But if you need to find out more about that, there's a code there, and there's Liam's contact details across the top as well. So that's just about what we are as we move forward.